I never planned to live in Brookside Meadows. It wasn't exactly my dream neighborhood, but the location made my daily commute a breeze, and the quiet walking paths were perfect for my service dog, Ranger. Ranger's a golden retriever, smart, calm, and trained to help me manage PTSD after my military service overseas. He's the kind of dog who never breaks focus when we're out, always wearing his service vest and following every command to the letter. Know the Americans with Disabilities Act like the back of my hand. You kind of have to when your independence depends on a service animal. But I never imagined I'd have to pull out that knowledge on the very first day I met the HOA president. Her name was Linda Hawthorne, clipboard in hand, lips pressed into a permanent scowl. She introduced herself with a tone that suggested I should be impressed. "I don't recall approving a dog in this community," she said, narrowing her eyes at Ranger, who sat perfectly still beside me. I explained, politely, that Ranger wasn't a pet but a service dog, and therefore exempt from any HOA pet restrictions under federal law. She made a sound somewhere between a sigh and a growl, muttered about people finding loopholes, and walked away. That should have been my warning. Within 2 weeks, I'd received 3 violation notices. My grass was an inch too tall, my mailbox was the wrong shade of black, and my garbage can was visible from the street for exactly 47 minutes after collection. All 3 had Linda's dramatic signature, complete with a little smiley face that felt anything but friendly. I fixed each issue, not wanting trouble, but deep down, I knew this was just the start. Then came the HOA meeting. Linda proposed a new rule. All animals, including service animals, must be registered with the board and wear HOA-approved identification at all times. I raised my hand, pointing out that federal law doesn't allow extra requirements for service animals. She cut me off mid-sentence. Federal law doesn't override community standards. After the meeting, she walked up to me and whispered, "If you want to make this hard, I can make it harder." Her breath smelled like coffee and intimidation. The real showdown came the following weekend. I was on my front porch, Ranger resting at my feet when a shadow stretched across the lawn. Linda stood there, khaki shorts, polo shirt, spray bottle in hand. "Your dog's in violation of the new ordinance," she announced loud enough for neighbors to hear. I reminded her, calmly, that Ranger was protected by federal law, and besides, her rule hadn't even gone into effect yet. Her face turned crimson. "I'm tired of you military types thinking you're above the rules," she spat, stepping forward. "If you won't comply, I'll take care of it myself." Before I could react, she raised the spray bottle and blasted Ranger right in the face. Ranger yelped, stumbling back, pawing at his eyes. I jumped between them and demanded to know what was in the bottle. "Just vinegar and water," she smirked. "Won't hurt him. Maybe now he'll learn to respect authority." Years of training taught me to keep my cool. I took Ranger inside, rinsed his eyes until he was comfortable, then dialed 911. 20 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. I showed them Ranger's certification, explained what happened, and pointed to Linda's house. One officer stayed to take my statement while the other confronted her. From my window, I could see her gesturing wildly, face twisted in indignation. The officer didn't look impressed. When they came back, they told me Linda admitted to spraying Ranger, claiming she was enforcing community rules. They informed her and me that interfering with a service animal is a federal crime and also counts as animal cruelty under state law. Then they asked me, "Do you want to press charges?" I didn't hesitate. Linda was cuffed and escorted to the patrol car, shouting about how she'd have me evicted. Neighbors watched from their porches, one whispering, "She's finally gone too far." The case moved fast. She was charged with interference with a service animal, animal cruelty, and harassment. In court, the judge made it clear, community rules never supersede federal law, especially where disability rights are concerned. Meanwhile, the HOA board held an emergency meeting. The vice president called for a vote of no confidence. It was unanimous. Linda was out. She eventually took a plea deal to avoid a longer sentence, 30 days in county jail, a $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service at an animal shelter, and mandatory disability rights education. When the sentence was read, her face shifted from outrage to disbelief. "I was just enforcing the rules," she said weakly. The judge leaned forward. "The most important rule, Ms. Hawthorne, is to follow the law of the land, which protects service animals and the people who rely on them." As she was led away, our eyes met. The arrogance was gone. She mouthed something that might have been, "This isn't over." But we both knew it was. Ranger sat by my side, calm, alert, and unshaken. I scratched behind his ears, and he leaned into my hand. Together, we'd weathered a storm and come out stronger.